Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and pop culture. My name is Nicky, and I'm joined, as always, by the man who is as wise as a serpent and as harmless as a dove. It's Greg. How are you today, buddy?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm
very
well.
Quite a tame opener there.
I didn't want to stray too much, in terms of the content today. I had another one that I was just keeping yourself dry, but I couldn't think of a nice way to, get in, but never mind. I didn't want to go too over the top with any religious connotations today.
Right, yeah, of course.
We'll be discussing a lot of that later on. How are you, buddy? All good?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's a wee bit on the nose about a podcast about where we talk a lot about Scottish culture, among other things. But you find me basking in a post caramel wafer glow. As you can see here, I'm holding up my
fiddling with
my wrapper. Yeah, and I'm wondering, is there a chocolate biscuit with a more versatile, maybe not versatile, but a more malleable wrapper? I mean, it feels like an artier person could fold it into almost anything.
Yeah, what is it about? Yeah, tonics, obviously, because the tea cake obviously has a very. Yes. It's not as versatile, but you can spread it out, you can roll it up, you can other things. But you're right. There's not really a lot.
I mean, all I can make out of it is like a stripy stick. Really.
I'm sure you can make some sort of art of it if you were able to fold it in the right way. The way it is, I'm sure you can make some origami.
A jaunty walking stick, perhaps.
There you go. Well, it's like a candy cane for Christmas. You could have a little, a tree full of little ornaments. You could use that must exist. If not, we need to get that in motion for next Christmas. You use the Tunnocks tea cakes as you could cut them into stars and shapes and have them hanging. And then you've got those as little candy canes. And then you get the snow from the coconut on a. This must exist. If not, we're copyrighting this now. And we need to get in touch with Tunnocks and find out if this exists, and if not, why not?
I'm told the Tunnocks factory in Uddingston is well worth a visit. They've got like a kind of visitor centre that sort of talks about their heritage and the history of their confectionery. But I've never made it out there. One of these days, it's like I've got a list as long as like my leg of places in Scotland that I've been meaning to visit for the last 25 years. Just never got round to it. One of these days, I'll make it to Uddingston.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, I guess when you go back, it's kind of functional. I'm going back in a few weeks' time, for a weekend, but I don't think, will I get to experience anything new? Because we're going to Edinburgh, so we'll go to the castle, we'll go up Arthur's Seat, we'll do I've done all that. Then when we pop through to Glasgow, it's just got to leave for a day. It's to go to the football. Well, I've been to Hampden. I've seen Scotland at Hampden. It'll be amazing. I've never seen Curaçao, so it'll be cool. Yeah. But you know what I mean. I won't be experiencing anything new.
Yeah. But, well, if Scotland win, it would be.
That's a very good point. Yeah, you're right. I haven't seen Scotland win at Hampden. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I think the last time we went together to watch Scotland play Belarus. It was the last time we went to see Scotland at Hampden, wasn't it? It was a good day. What was I going to say to you? So where are you going to stay in Glasgow? Are you flying to Edinburgh or Glasgow?
Flying to Edinburgh, so just going to stay in Edinburgh. It made more sense because there's more nice, not that Glasgow's not nice, obviously, but the game's on it kicks off at 1:00. So
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, so what I'm going to, we'll stay in Edinburgh, but we're in Edinburgh for a couple of days. Then on the day of the match, we'll go through to Glasgow about 8:00 or something and, have something, breakfast or something there. And then just slowly, if it's a nice day, slowly make our way to Hampden.
You might want to spring for the first class for the train out. Because I think could be quite busy at that time in the morning. Quite an atmospheric journey, quite an atmospheric 45 minutes, I'd imagine.
That'll be good. That'll be part of the atmosphere. Yeah. It'll be all good. We'll see.
But you can enjoy the atmosphere a lot better if you're sitting down, especially as you're taking this is your girlfriend's first trip to Scotland. Making her stand for 50 minutes from Waverley to Queen Street, surrounded by a load of Scotland fans singing and probably a few cans deep by that point. You might not be optimizing the trip.
But it adds the experience if she comes off, the train stinking of Tennants and Bucky and, an injury from a feather that's stuck from a Tartan Army foot soldier's hat and, all adds to it. We'll see. I will, I'll have a look and decide what to do.
Nice. Now, you stayed in the city centre, or are you down in Leith like we were when we were there a couple of years ago?
No, found an Airbnb which is about 5 minutes from Haymarket station.
Okay.
So
nice.
So it's ideal. And then then from then it's a 25-minute walk to the castle and stuff. So
and there's lots there's lots to look at on that walk as well. So that'd be nice.
Yeah. So when I saw that, it was perfect. I was fucking shocked. Well, I wasn't shocked, but the price of hotels in Edinburgh, fucking extortionate.
Yeah, it's getting
absolutely extortionate.
The season is encroaching, as they say.
Yeah. So, never mind. Well, I'll be able to report on what's happening in Scotland in a few weeks' time.
You will, indeed.
Until then, shall we have a look at what's been happening in Scotland over the last couple of weeks?
Cue the jingle.
Hello, this is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
Okay, Greg, what have you seen in the news in the last couple of weeks you'd like to share with me and our lovely listeners?
So, this one comes from the Scottish Sun on Monday the 4th of May. And what, the sort of events of this story is not amusing per se. The reason that some people have suggested that the event happened is very amusing indeed. So the headline reads, Tunnel Smash, car crashes into slip road wall at Glasgow's Clyde Tunnel amid fears that graffiti was mistaken for an entrance.
Oh, Jesus.
Emergency crews were scrambled to the scene just after 2:30 p.m. following the smash on Sunday the 3rd. The alarm was raised after police and fire crews received a report of a car which had ploughed into a wall on Shield Hall Road. The stretch of the road leads to the A739 Clyde Tunnel southern approach slip. It's feared the car left the road and hit a graffitied wall. The wall of the slip road is daubed with spray paint to look like two large eyes, and it's led to online speculation that the painted black pupil has been mistaken for an entrance to the tunnel. So, as you can imagine, all the online stuff, it's all very Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote centric, because I think famously in the old Warner Brothers cartoons, there's a scene. I remember one distinctly where the Coyote paints an entrance, but the Roadrunner manages to run into it and run through the tunnel, and then the Wile E. Coyote tries to run after them and crashes into the wall. So there's some pictures of the smashed car against the wall, and so somebody's like photoshopped Wile E. Coyote walking away with holding a can of paint. So
wow.
Yeah, I think people will be. I think the custodians will be being dispatched to that wall to take the graffiti down sooner than later.
That's insane. I guess an easy mistake to make if you don't know where you're going, you're not quite paying attention, you're looking at the map, you're looking at your phone on where you're supposed to be going.
Yeah.
You just see the dark. Well, no, actually.
Yeah. You're having a vape.
Actually, I don't know why I'm trying to justify this. How the fuck does that happen? I mean, you never know. Circumstances, it could be, that someone has just had an accident, maybe,
Yeah. I mean, he was taken to hospital for some treatment, but released the same day. So, but now there is a movie coming out And I'm not suggesting for a moment that this is some kind of guerrilla marketing by Warner Brothers, but there's a film coming out called Wile E. Coyote versus Acme, and it's a kind of sort of Who Framed Roger Rabbit style with cartoons and live action, or Space Jam style. And as far as I can work out, Wile E. Coyote is taking Acme to court for all the things that he's bought over the years to try and catch the Roadrunner that have either backfired or not worked, such as the paint that he paints on the wall to, or whatever it might be. Spring-loaded boots.
Watch the shit out of that. I think Wile E. Coyote was probably my favourite character of that ilk. And in terms of Looney Tunes, I'd watch the hell out of that. Sounds brilliant.
Yeah, me too. I look forward to it. I saw a trailer for it a week or two ago, so I'll ping you over the trailer after the podcast, and you can
very nice.
Have a watch.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, nice. We do hope the man who crashed his car is okay. We don't mean to make light of your accidents, but we definitely mean to make light of the reasons that people are suggesting why you had the accident. We hope you get better soon. But that's my first story this week. What's your first one?
My first story is from the Scottish Sun this week, Greg, and the headline reads, "Unacceptable. A youth football club has been slammed by furious club bosses over a photo of its players wearing t-shirts with slogans such as 'I love drunk girls' and 'I love sluts.' The teens, aged 14 to 15, wore tops with a variety of sexual messages on, including 'I love doggy style,' 'I love big ass,' 'I love tits,' and 'I love MILFs.' Members of the Musselburgh Windsor team in Scotland were taking part in a tournament in Barcelona for 6 days over the Easter holidays. On one of the evenings, an image appeared on the team's Instagram page. The club has slammed the explicit, sexualised and misogynistic slogans as wholly unacceptable. It is believed that the t-shirts were bought for the players by some of their parents who had accompanied them on the trip. Someone close to a parent of the player in the club's girls section told the Courier in Scotland they found the incident to be not simply a matter of poor taste, but also raising broader questions about the safeguarding of culture and standards of behaviour being modelled to young players. They said, "This is inappropriate for minors and raises serious concerns about the judgment and safeguarding awareness of the adults responsible." The Instagram post was removed shortly afterwards, and the full page is now listed as private. Scott Robertson, president of Musselburgh Windsor FC, told the Courier that while the coaches were out for a meal with their own families and unaware of what was happening, it appears that some of the parents took it upon themselves to purchase the t-shirts and take photographs. He said that a parent had also posted the photo to the team's public Instagram page. When the coaches returned to the hotel, they immediately deleted the image and said that all the players and the parents were summoned to a meeting whilst in Spain to make clear that it was unacceptable. One comment on the original Instagram post said that those responsible should be utterly ashamed of themselves. So it's a group of 10 lads, it's a football team, they're all 14, 15, their faces are blurred out in the photo, and they're just all wearing I Heart t-shirts, and it's sluts, big tits, brunettes, blondes, big ass, drunk girls, MILFs, GILFs, doggy style, and sushi.
I mean, quite inclusive t-shirts, really. I don't think anybody's been left out, really.
No, I don't think so. No. There's one I can't see because somebody's blocking it. So, there's someone else included in that story. Look, it's a laugh, but I do think it's a little bit inappropriate that they're only 14, 15.
A little bit inappropriate.
Some of them are incredibly inappropriate. I love drunk girls and I love sluts. What were they thinking?
I mean, I guess they're thinking it's just a laugh, and and it's not going to get into the newspaper. That's all I can offer, really.
It's always a sign of trouble, isn't it? I was out for a little run on Saturday morning, and I passed the tram stop, and we live outside the city centre, and there was 10 guys all wearing matching t-shirts waiting for the tram. This was like 10:30 in the morning, off to go and get on it. And I'm like, you guys are not getting in anywhere. Like, you know, you're not going to get in any coffee shops because it's a Saturday afternoon. The ones that you want to go to will all have bouncers on the door.
Yeah.
It's only like the smaller, more ones for the locals that don't have any security because nobody knows. They all look like little shitholes that you know, turn out to be the best places. So yeah, like it's never a good idea to wear matching t-shirts.
What are the t-shirts? What was the vibe of the t-shirts?
I didn't really see it. Said like it was like a nickname on the and then a number on the back. I didn't see the front properly, and then there was like a little slogan at the bottom that said something like, just because James has fucked up doesn't mean we all can't enjoy ourselves, or something like that. Okay. So
they might be all right. They might be okay. I was just thinking about the In-Betweeners movie.
It's the fact he's like, I had to pay extra for yours.
Yeah. Will says, I fuck kids or something like that, isn't it?
And Mr. I fuck kids.
Yeah. The Pussy Patrol.
But yeah, never a good idea. But yeah, I don't know. Would you wear a t-shirt with something like that if everyone else was wearing it?
I think we've established that I wouldn't. I think we established many years ago that I wouldn't. I was quite happy to wear a matching Colours Fest t-shirt with my friends. I wasn't. Yeah. I didn't really want to wear the Girls Aloud customised bespoke t-shirts when we went to see those ladies.
Well, it's fair enough. I can't say anything about mine because I can't speak ill or include the dead in anything like that. So never mind. So yeah, youth football team wearing dirty t-shirts, dirty little bastards. Wonder if they got any luck when they were in Barcelona. What else have you seen this week, buddy?
So the end, I don't want, it's hard for me to call this a Scottish institution because in my mind it's not been around for very long.
Okay.
But in actual fact, it's been on for 24 years and unfortunately it's come to the end. So we had a story a while ago about River City and being cancelled by the BBC. For listeners abroad. River City is a Scottish soap opera, and we've not had much luck at maintaining soap operas. We had Garnock Way, and then that kind of gave way to Take the High Road, which got a rebrand to High Road, and then I think after about 15 or 20 years, High Road was no more. River City's done a bit better. It's lasted 24 years, but unfortunately, the BBC Scotland, that is, have declared it is no longer value for money. So there's a picture of Stephen Purden, who plays Shellsuit Bob here. He's holding the clapperboard for River City, which says the last day of filming. He's got a sort of Fred Perry quilted coat on and a big smile on his face. And I'm really not quite sure what he's smiling at because he's River City's longest serving actor at this stage. And, you know, beyond Sweet 16, the Ken Loach film, I don't think he's done an awful lot more. It also looks like he's got the old. He's either wearing a hairpiece or he's been on his holidays to Turkey.
Okay.
So the final scenes of River City have been filmed as Scotland's longest running drama series comes to an end after 24 years. The iconic Glasgow-based drama set in Shield Inch has been axed as BBC Scotland said it was no longer value for money. TV bosses refused to do a U-turn on the decision despite a Save River City campaign backed by the cast, viewers, politicians and the Actors Union, Equity. The final scene filmed on Friday and it will be aired at the end of August. It will be followed by a specially commissioned documentary taking the audience at home through 2 decades of drama, iconic moments and never before seen behind the scenes footage. That's a mouthful. Speaking to Glasgow Live, executive producer Martin McCarty said, "It's a very emotional time. Since last week, people have been up and down. We are fighting to get to the very end of a really special finale. The audience deserve a character-based ending, and I think that's what we've done. It'll bring a tear to the eye. Tony Kearney, who starred as Scott Wallace for nearly 10 years, is now executive producer and director at Solus Productions, who are making a documentary. He said he's indebted to River City. I learned my craft as a director here, he said. River City taught me about direction and how to handle performers. I went behind the camera and haven't acted since. Once you've been a part of this team, it will never leave you. Actor Stephen Purdon, who may or may not have been in his holidays to Turkey, is the programme's longest serving cast member, better known as Shell Suit Bob O'Hara. He said it was emotional, surreal and hard to put into words on the final day on set. He added, I've grown up here. When I started, I was 19 and still living with my mum. Now I'm nearly 43 with 2 kids and a wife. It's funny, a lot of the things Bob's went through on screen, I went through in my personal life too, but it's the people I'll miss the most, coming in here and seeing their faces. The banter, the chat and the actors you work closely with. It sounds cliche, but it really is one big happy family. I came in a wee bit earlier and had a wee walk around myself to try and take it all in. But you've got scenes to film, you've still got to be professional, you've got to go and do your work. Sally Howitt, who plays Stephen's on-screen mum, Scarlett O'Hara, said, I'll never not be Scarlett. I never want to lose that. I was first casted for 1 month, and 23 years later, here I am. It's such momentous time, and it's hard to believe it's the end. And when some of the cast picked a memento to take home with them, Sally said, I've had to take the Virgin Mary from my sideboard. I actually took a frying pan and a leopard print tray and some coasters too. When asked what he'll be nicking, Stephen jokingly said, no comment, next question. I imagine it's something he can probably sell. She's got a mortgage to pay. Sorry, that's mean. That's not fair of me to say that about Stephen Purdon. Although I'll always be scarred by making a bit of a fanny of myself in front of him and some of the other River City guys in the garage that night. And then seeing him the next day at my work when he came in for dinner with his girlfriends. And obviously didn't want his girlfriend to know that he'd been in the garage the night before. If anything, he should be roasting me, not the other way around. Anyway, I don't really have any sort of fond memories of River City. I remember watching the odd episode when it was relatively new. I mean, the thing about soaps is when you're young, your mum, my mum watched all the soaps, you know what I mean? My granny watched all the soaps. So, you just, if there's only one telly in the house, you just watch the soaps, you know what I mean? And then you end up getting into them a bit. And like my granny watched absolutely she even watched like the sort of mid-afternoon Australian ones like Country Practice and Sons and Daughters. She was Young Doctors, all that kind of thing. She would set the video to tape them when she went out. She couldn't work the thermostat and her central heating, but she knew how to program her video for like a full day of TV programming, Home and Away, Neighbours, everything.
That's the thing. It is, and it was something about the older that a woman got. I know exactly as you say, my granny watched everything, exactly as you say, Shortland Street, The Flying Doctors, A Country Practice,
Dynasty,
was on,
Colby's, Dallas,
anything at all. So I only really saw Take the High Road when I was at hers because my mum, she only watched the only one my granny didn't watch, which is probably my favourite soap, would be Brookside.
Right.
And I fucking love Brookside.
Yeah.
But then as my mum got older, then she watched, I've started watching EastEnders. I'm watching Coronation Street now as well. Emmerdale's good, And of course, River City, when it came out, she watched.
Right.
And I think because it's Scottish and because it was good. And I remember River City launching, but I can't say I ever really watched it as such. I was aware of it. And of course, being from Aberdeen, the big thing was, of course, Joyce, Roisin for River City. And she became like a cultural icon in Aberdeen. And she was in the panto and stuff. And River City, it's done well. And when you look at the people that have made appearances in River City, it's huge, even if it's just...
Including the star of our movie a bit later on as well. Did 9 episodes.
So yeah, I had to look up Stephen Purdon. We've had him on the Swally twice. He's in Ratcatcher and Sweet 16.
Oh, I forgot he was in Ratcatcher. Yeah.
He's the guy kid on the bike that when he cycles past, your dad's a hero. He's but yeah, other than that, it's just been River City. Pretty much. I know he's got a successful-ish... He does a podcast with Grado and Chris Toll.
Is he a wrestling fan, is he?
No, it's about... It's about football, but it's basically about the tribute act, Rangers FC.
Actually, do you think it really... It hurt him to play a character called Bob O'Hara when he's such a big Rangers fan?
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Probably. I hope so. But yeah, I hope all the cast of River City. I've often thought like how we would do it. We'd have to watch maybe the first episode and then talk about everything. But to be honest, if there's a big documentary coming on soon, that's going to cover everything. If you need to know anything about River City, you can watch that. But I think when I was on STV Player, there's like 4 episodes, and it's like the only 4 episodes of Garnock Way that still exist.
Right.
And I thought, we could do that one day. As like a little blast of the past to see what
I've
it was
watched one of those episodes.
Have you?
I went down a bit of a rabbit hole. I think there was somebody in Garnock Way who had been in something that we... like a play for today, maybe Eileen McCallum, maybe, because she's in Garnock Way, of course. Wouldn't have been allowed to make it without her in it back then, I wouldn't have thought. I did watch. I was kind of interested, and I watched the first episode of Take the High Road as well, because it's on.
Oh yeah,
it's on YouTube. There's something really evocative about the Take the High Road music, but not so much. Because obviously, like, they re-record, don't they? As soaps age, they re-record them, and they maybe kind of modernise them a wee bit and stuff. But like the original Take the High Road music, it sounded like they just had like a pipe band in a studio. Because it's like it's a really full, and I get it's a really full sound, but because obviously even when you watch it on YouTube, it wasn't broadcast in like Dolby or anything. It was whatever the sort of sound platform was that the BBC, the ITV would broadcast on those old tellies back then. It just, I don't know, it just sort of takes me back to eating my dinner off my knee and watching Take the High Road with my mum when we were just her and I them together. So yeah, maybe we will. Maybe we could do like a Scottish soaps special.
Yeah.
Maybe we could watch the first episode of Garnock Way, Take the High Road and River City, and we could compare. And
that sounds brilliant to me. I'm up for that. Right. Yeah, we'll do that soon then. Okay.
Excellent.
Pencil that in. Scottish soap special coming soon on the Culture Swally.
So
we'll maybe do it to coincide with the last episode of River City at the end of August.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good shout. So River City coming to an end in the summer. There's no clues as to what the big storyline will be when they wrap it all up. I know that I'm trying to think, like, do you remember a long-running American hospital program called St. Elsewhere? I think Denzel Washington got started it. So the final episode of that, the St. Elsewhere was revealed to have been the sort of hallucination of an autistic boy looking at a model of the St. Elsewhere hospital in a fish tank and imagining. So I would love it if River City are going to be brave and do something like that. You know what I mean? That would be brilliant. Just, like Stephen Purdon kind of wakes up in the street after a bender. What happened there? I was going to say. Basically, just dreamt 24 years of drama.
I was going to say something. It's, Shell Suit Bob waking up in a bridge under the Clyde or something, and piss-stained trackies, empty bottle of Bucky next to him.
Yeah, an old Celtic shell suit on.
Well, yeah. Probably will watch the last episode. If we end up covering the first, I'll end up watching the last as well. So yeah, we'll see.
For sure.
Cool.
I think John Leslie's brother is in it. Was it Grant Stott?
Yeah, he's in it. Yeah, was in it for a while. I think in recent years, like Simone Labib has been a big stalwart in River City as well. I think there's quite a few. Yeah, surprising names that have popped up for decent stints in River City.
Paul Robinson from Neighbours was in it.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Stephen Dennis, yeah.
Playing a baddie.
That's right. Yeah.
All righty. Well, anyway, that's my second story. What's your next story this week?
My next story is from the Scottish Sun this week, Greg, and the headline is Bin Decent Exposure. A Scots creep was caught having sex with a wheelie bin before eating rubbish out of it. Jesus. It's a very Swally-centric story. Warped Craig Provan was spotted with his trousers round his ankles, exposing his genitals and thrusting his hips towards the bin. Provan, 45, was then seen scoffing cardboard out of the trash during the bizarre incident.
Not even food. No. Fucking hell.
The Tartbolton man's weird crime came to light when he appeared in the dock at Ayr Sheriff Court last week. Provan pleaded guilty to committing an act of public indecency in Mill Street, Ayr on Halloween last year. Prosecutors said a man living nearby had got up to close his blinds when he observed the accused at the waste bins with his jeans round his ankles. The witness said that Provan was still wearing his boxer shorts, but that his penis was sticking out and he was thrusting it towards the bin. He then described this as him having sex with the bin. He was then caught eating cardboard from the bin before the witness shouted at him and called the police. You shout at him when he's eating cardboard, but not when he's having sex. When cops arrived, they found Provan in his boxer shorts and unsteady on his feet. I guess his jeans are around his ankles. He tried to claim that he was standing in his underwear because he'd been showing them his injuries. Defence solicitor Colin McLaughlin said Provan had an unusual background in conduct, but did not elaborate any further. He avoided being put on the sex offenders register, but Sheriff Diane Turner slapped him with 50 hours of unpaid work. So, sex with a wheelie bin, Greg. And then the eating cardboard. I'm not quite sure what's the more bizarre.
it sounds. I'm no psychologist, but it sounds like Provan maybe needs to take a wee break, maybe somewhere where people can look after him, and because it doesn't sound like he's very well. To be honest.
No, I think it doesn't mention anything about that in the article, and the Sun obviously have gone with the same line of not thinking about that because they've called him a creep. They've called him warped. They've really taken public care there in case that there is an issue with this gentleman.
It certainly sounds like there is. I can't imagine what compulsion. I mean, I can imagine pretending to shag a wheelie bin to make your mates laugh. If you're 18 and you're full of wreck the hoosh juice, then, oh, look at me, man. I'm shagging a wheelie bear. A wheelie bear? I'm shagging a wheelie bin. But then to go like a step, to do it, first of all, to do it on your own, like proper trousers down, and then to start chowing down on not even food in the bin, but just cardboard. It was obviously a recycling bin.
Yeah, but then, you never know, Greg. That's how it starts. Maybe he's done it in front of his mates for a laugh. Look at me shagging a bin. And he's felt something. Yeah. And he's tried to deny it himself, but then he's gone back later for another little, on his own to see if what he felt earlier was actually his true feelings. And, one thing's led to another, and before you know it, he's shagging the bin.
He's found out that it's a recycling bin, which doesn't align with his anti-woke agenda. So he's sexually assaulted the bin before eating the contents.
Well, as long as it wasn't the glass bin and he didn't injure himself, then I say just fire away and get on with it. But some unpaid work there for our hero, Craig Provan.
But he's he's been sentenced, I assume, for indecent exposure. It's not like the bin is going to put a complaint in against him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's any laws against shagging a wheelie bin.
No, yeah, it's public indecency.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
He got, but yeah, he wasn't, placed on the sex offenders register, which,
right.
I don't know, I think we've heard, I was going to say lesser stories, but you know what I mean? Like stories, it's all fucking stories about people wanking in public, Jesus. Anyway, let's not go down this road because we've got a lot of religion to discuss shortly. Have you seen anything else this week, buddy?
No, that's all I've got.
Okay, no worries. Okay, right. Before we go on to what we're going to be talking about today, let's have a little word from our sponsors.
Right, son. Get in the car. You're under arrest.
No, sir, you're not entitled to make a telephone call. In here, please.
That's it. I've had it up to here. Just can't take this anymore.
Is there anyone you want us to contact?
We're going to charge you. You know what that means.
If you need a solicitor, free phone Ross Harper on 0800 11 12 13.
You'd better get yourself a good lawyer.
Okay, so on the last episode, we spoke about I Swear, the movie, the true story of the life of John Davidson. It was my choice, which means that it's your turn it was your turn to pick what we're talking about today. So why don't you introduce your movie?
Thank you very much, Greg. Well, today we're looking at a film from 2003, which I had never seen, but I saw it on STV Player and I thought, well, why not? Let's give it a try. So we're going to be discussing the film Man Dancin, which is also known as Kerrigan's Passion in some countries. It stars Alex Fearns, aka Trevor from EastEnders. I'm just going to pre-warn listeners, I probably will call him Trevor on a few occasions. The next actor, patron saint of the Culture Swally, James Cosmo, obviously he needs no introduction. He plays character Donnie McGlone, but I'm just going to call him Cosmo the whole episode, and I'm probably certain Greg's probably going to do the same. Kenneth Cranham, Ron Donnachie, and Gavin Mitchell. Ex-hardman Jimmy Kerrigan returns to his hometown of Glasgow after 9 long years in prison for gun running in Northern Ireland. But Jimmy has changed, and nobody quite knows what to make of him. Some think he's gone soft. Others suspect he's found religion, but no one asks, and he doesn't say. His old crime boss, Cosmo, thinks he wants to set up on his own, so keeps a close eye on Trevor's activities. Greg, you'd mentioned you weren't sure if you'd seen Man Dancin, I think. You thought you hadn't seen it, but you weren't quite sure. Had you seen Man Dancin? You hadn't seen it, so you got to experience this fucking gem for the first time.
I did. So when this film came out in 2003, Alex Fearns was riding high, right? He had been really recognised and won awards for his performance as wife beater Trevor in EastEnders. In EastEnders, for anybody overseas who's not sure, is a very famous British soap opera that celebrated its 40th birthday last year. It's been on for a long time.
Yeah.
So there was Fearns' stock was high, which I'm sure is no small part for him getting the film. For what it's worth, he's very good in it, mostly. I think there are some moments where he he's a bit wobbly, but for the most part, he's very good in it. What surprised me the most about this film is that it won the Outstanding Original Screenplay Award at the Sacramento Film Festival, as well as the Critics' Choice and Gold Remy Awards at World Fest Houston International Film Festival. And if you see the DVD box, it has those 3 accolades, bookended by laurel leaves on the front of them. In the front of it.
Do you think, are they religious film festivals by any chance, or? You think?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, and I was going to keep it for later. But the thing about this movie, now I enjoyed it. Right? There's a lot of like great sort of Glasgow humour in it. You know what I mean? And some fantastic characters in it. I mean, Tam White as Johnny Bus Stop is brilliant. He's so good in it. And you know, almost everybody who's in it is good. The problem, I think, with this movie is that it can't decide if it wants to be a kind of hard-boiled sort of gangster thriller or a sort of working class kind of characters against type, Full Monty type kind of comedy drama. But to be fair, I think it does a reasonably good job of spinning both those plates until probably the last 25 minutes or so. You know, there's a really brutal murder that we'll get to, which is pretty graphic as well, and not really. You know, the rest of the movie is a couple of people getting roughed up, but there's nothing. No like particular violence. I mean, there's nothing more violent than what you would get in River City, for example, until that moment, and then, you know, like all the sort of goodwill of the film is sort of left behind, and we're just in out and out sort of gangster movie territory, which I thought was a bit of a shame, because I think the first two acts are actually very good.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I mean, the film, it's a very familiar trope and tale about this legendary gangster hard man gets released from prison, and he wants to go straight and right his wrongs, but his former employer and the corrupt police are trying to not let him fade away, and then his druggy younger brother's causing him all sorts of grief, but he turns to the local priest who takes him under his wing and offers him the role of Jesus Christ. It's a familiar trope, you know, but it has all those elements, apart from the last one, that you really kind of expect. And it's a tough film because in some places it's really kind of by the numbers and kind of feels it's going through the motions, but then, I don't know, it doesn't really do enough to keep you... It does keep you engaged, but it's an unusual film because it crams a lot of kind of messages and things into it. And, you know, I'd written like, is this a crime drama? Is it like a mob thriller, a gangster film? Is it a religious sermon? Is it a commentary on society? I think I saw in one place it was listed as a comedy, and I was like, it's not a comedy. Like,
No.
you know, there are a couple of funnier elements, but not necessarily intentional. It's, you know, and it might just be me laughing at Cosmo with his boiler suit and his scarf, but it's because it's like, oh, I'm glad Cosmo's wrapped up one. But, you know, then I was later on, you know, Jesus, I wish I hadn't picked this. It changes my image of Cosmo. But yeah, it's, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it, but it's an odd film. It kind of almost doesn't know what it wants to be in places.
But that was the thing. That's what I kind of struggled with a bit. You know, there's a couple of threads that it could just do with tightening up a wee bit. Like the whole Cosmo's whole obsession with Jimmy, with Trevor. It's like, you know, he's, you know, like there's nothing that he does that indicates at all that he might be thinking of getting into becoming a rival to Cosmo, right? Nothing at all. And, you know, he sort of said, look, you know, I'm out, blah, blah, blah. I might go abroad. I might do this, I might do that. You know, and so they said, well, why is Cosmo so obsessed with him? You know what I mean? But then Cosmo gives him a big kiss in the mouth during the overdose scene, and you're like, and I was like, is it something like that? Is there, you know, is there a really subtle sort of infatuation that Cosmo has for Trevor? Like, you know, maybe he's obviously, I mean, Cosmo is a man of advanced years, even in this. The woman that plays his wife looks like she's playing his mother. You know,
yeah,
so
she does.
Maybe it's perhaps it's not a happy marriage, but it's not that clear.
Yeah, I think you're meant to think that I didn't think it was a sexual love, but you're right, the kiss on the lips. But Jimmy was his guy. That's as Fleck says, you know, all these years it's Jimmy this, Jimmy that, you know, Jimmy's coming home. So Cosmo's been excited for Jimmy coming back. He's probably his best guy. Yeah. Obviously not the best, since he got fucking caught and got 9 years for gun running into fucking Belfast. And then he's out. But Cosmo's probably been so excited, and he's got all these plans for what him and Jimmy are going to do when Jimmy's back. And then for Jimmy to say, I'm out, then I guess if you're a paranoidish kind of lord, kingpin, like Cosmo is, your first thought is going to be he's been plotting to set up against me because that's the only explanation. I don't know. But yeah, it does seem a little bit strange. I think you're right in terms of there's too many threads because great, you've got Cosmo here, I understand this. But then you've got the corrupt guy, Pancho Villers. And I'm like, is there a need for both? Like, there are parts where it's okay, it's handy that the police are corrupt there. But it felt like there was too much going on there for it, like too many different directions being pulled and sort of thing.
Well, the funny thing is, so the actor who plays Villers is Kenneth Cranham, who is a Scottish actor. Although he often plays English guy. I think probably the thing I saw him in that he sticks my mind for is as the Daniel Craig's boss in Layer Cake, who he ultimately shoots. Jimmy, I think his name is.
For me, it's Harvey Moon in Shine On Harvey Moon.
Right.
That's what I know him from.
Yeah. He's been around for a long time. So I don't know why he needs to be English, because his English accent, the accent that he's doing, and he can do a good English accent because he does Cockney very well in Layer Cake. But it's a bit of an odd choice why the DI has to be English and you cast a Scottish actor. I mean, there's a few English accents in this. I think one of the prostitutes that join the play is English.
Yeah.
And when it's a predominantly Scottish cast, like English accents, unless it's like a lead character, they sound a bit strange, again, especially some really quite broad Glaswegian accents in there.
Obviously, there's Tom Georgeson as Father Flynn, the Scouse accent. In terms
that's another odds choice. But he's doing a sort of Irish accent, isn't he? But not a very good one.
Yeah, it's I thought he was just speaking in his normal Scouse accent. But it didn't sound like I normally have heard him talk, because I do know him from a couple of things. But maybe a bit strange. But you're right. Yeah, why not cast a Scottish actor in that role? I just felt there was maybe too much going on there. But I do agree with you in terms of the kind of obsession that Cosmo seems to has with him. But it is, I put it as that. He's just looking forward to him coming back. But it is kind of full of the coincidences. So that, opens up, Jimmy gets out of prison. Great. He gets the boat over and then hitchhikes in a truck, lucky. I wrote down in my notes something like Peter Sutcliffe, and I don't know why, obviously. But then he's, the guy's got the boxing gloves dangling down, and it's, you're a fighter.
Yeah.
Like, used to be. I used to be. And that's it. Like, did they fuck? Did they, what happened? Did Jimmy pick up some tips in prison? But is that just to establish that Jimmy's a hard man? He's been in prison, he's a hard man, he used to be a fighter. I mean, they do speak about his boxing career later.
But we need to go back a step here, right? So Jimmy is released from prison in Northern Ireland. He hitches a ride on a fishing boat from Belfast to where would they come in to? I don't know. Somewhere on the west coast of Scotland. He stands at the front smoking a fag, looking hard as fuck for the whole crossing. You know what I mean? With no life jacket on. Unlike the rest of the crew who can just be seen behind him in the cabin of the boats. Yeah, it's a bit weird because it didn't click with me to begin with that he was in Northern Ireland for some reason. So I'm like, well, which supposed to be in prison in Scotland somewhere? Right? There's no prisons in any of the islands.
Well, because the prison officers have got English accents. That's what threw me as well. It's like, then it clearly says when he steps out above his head, the Northern Irish Prison Service, like just in case you're unsure.
Oh, I missed that.
So yeah, that's like, which I'm pretty certain. Yeah, I don't know, but so it's signposted there, but you wouldn't have known otherwise because it doesn't have an Irish accent. Yeah. So he's there, he's hitchhiking.
He arrives back and he finds a lorry driver who's willing to drop him off in his own scheme.
Very true. I forgot about that.
it's fucking by the looks of that scheme, that lorry wasn't coming back out of there. You know what I mean? Whatever he had in whatever he was carrying, everybody was getting a brand new one of in all around the scheme, you know. And he arrives just in time to see his brother Terry being pursued by rival drug dealers, I guess, and bizarrely takes a kicking for his brother instead of just telling him to go away.
I mean, I guess, yeah, that surprised me, because if he's such a fighter and the little Neds don't look up to much, why is he saying, I'll take it? Is this just to show, oh, well, of course, because he's turned the other cheek and stuff, and he doesn't want to use violence as the answer, you know, he wants to use the good within him, and he'll do that. So he's already showing that he is Jesus in terms of being able to do that. And
resisted the temptation of punching fuck out of the guys in tracksuits who are about to stab his brother.
But it's okay, because Cosmo's going to take care of them later on, so it'll all be okay. But yeah, you get the exposition here, obviously, that it is, well, it's not really clear it's his brother, but then obviously it is, and takes the beating for him. But yeah, it's a strange way to set up the character. And then he goes back to the flat and then just sits in a chair and falls asleep. And then it's a really odd thing, and then goes to the pub, you know, which is great.
And he runs into, of course, Jimmy Bus Stop, who I guess recognises his voice when he's talking at the bar. So he goes to look for his brother in the pub.
Yeah. So I can only presume, he's recognised his voice. And a fucking great character in this film. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant character. Just pops up in these random moments, has the best end. Not the best end, but it will definitely be speaking about that. Yeah. But yeah, a very interesting and intriguing character.
Yeah, I guess he's called Johnny Bus Stop because he's a busker who busks in the bus stop, right?
Yeah. That's what I'd gathered, yeah. And he's blind.
Yes, he's blind, which proves to be his undoing, towards the end of his appearance, when he's lured home by the actor who plays Kevin McKidd's rival in Small Faces, whose name I can never remember, who's also been in River City, and then abandoned on a bit of waste ground, where he's then ran over by what looks like a Mitsubishi Pajero.
I mean, when he gets hit by that car, it is so comical and ridiculous. Like that, I'm kind of glad it takes the sting out of him dying, like, because you know something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I really did like that character. So if his death wasn't so over the top and farcical, I might have been a bit more upset. But it's almost like it's played for a laugh. It's an obvious dummy that goes under that car. It gets thrown up in the air. They obviously speed up the film a little bit, hoping that we won't see how fucking bad it is.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, there is a shot where the dummy is clearly broken in half by the front tire of the car. I can't remember if it came before or after we see it being flung up in the air. Yeah, I mean, like, they're not spending a fortune on this movie. You know what I mean? They've spent all the money on the actors because Fearns, Cosmo, probably Fearns and Cosmo, to be honest, might take up most of the budget. Because the other characters, well, there's Kenneth Cranham, who we just discussed. Yeah. You've got Gerald Lepowski, Kaz Harkins from River City, Ron Donnachie, he's been in River City as well, Frank Gallagher from River City.
Yeah, Gavin Mitchell
from River City. Along with Alex Fearns, who would star in River City for 9 episodes.
It's all linking together, I think it's definitely, we're taking Taggart in that. Yeah, I think the cast, I guess let's speak about the two. I mean, we've kind of spoken a bit about Alex Fearns, but we can speak about him more. He's always going to be known as Trevor from EastEnders, unfortunately, which is a curse. He was in it for like 2 years, but it's just going to be absolutely cursed with it. But it was a huge thing back then when Little Mo hit him with the iron, and then he ended up meeting a grisly end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, there's something, I have got a bit of a bone to pick. It's something about EastEnders that anytime there's like a Scottish person in it, they always seem to be a fucking bad person or something.
Yeah.
I remember there was...
Gerard Kelly did a baddie in EastEnders, didn't he? And Brookside.
Yeah, Gerard Kelly played a bad guy in it. And then there was Forbes Masson. He played like a pedo tutor. It was like grooming his pupil. Like, we get a rough ride on EastEnders, and I'm sure whenever there's like somebody drunk or like a tramp or something with a fucking Scottish accent, or like that. But Alex Fearns, he was, you say his stock was high, and then, I don't know. I mean, I've seen him recently. Of course, he was in Chernobyl, and he's in that show. So is Cosmo, and probably a few others that have been in River City. The night sleeper, the one with the train.
Right, I didn't see that.
Runs away. No, it's very good. It really is worth a watch. I mean, it's trash, but it's good, entertaining trash, if you know what I mean. He's in that, and he plays a really good role in that. So yeah,
I think what sort of kind of makes him stand out a wee bit is that often there are actors who leave a soap in the UK after like a massive, really popular role that's caught the headlines and caught the country's imagination and everything else, that are sort of tipped to be, let's see what this guy's going to do next or this woman's going to do next. Not many of them do a lot. I can think of there's a couple from Coronation Street. I can't remember what they're in or what their names are. I'll tell you what one of them was in that Criminal Minds police investigation.
Saran Jones.
No, that's the other one I was thinking of. She's in Gentleman Jack. But yeah, she was in that Criminal Minds as one of the police people. And
I do know who you mean. It's like Catherine Tisdale or something.
Catherine something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with him, I mean, I'm just having a flick through his IMBD. So, even before EastEnders, he was doing quite a lot of stuff. He was in Psychos. I don't remember seeing him in Psychos, but he did a policeman in Psychos, but a small part.
He is. We mentioned it in the pod. He's like one of the first people you see. It's in the very first episode. He's one of the cops that they break into the guy's flat. Yeah. We did mention it on the podcast. I think we said Trevor from EastEnders.
Right. Yeah, probably. So this is the first. Man Dancin is the first thing he does after getting out of after leaving EastEnders, like the following year. Okay. Not going to read everything, but he's in a really good Scottish drama, which I've not been able to find because it was remade in the US, called Low Winter Sun, and it's got Mark Strong and Brian McCarty in it. And I remember watching it at the time, and it was really good. Set in Edinburgh. Okay. He's obviously done Casualty because everybody has to do Casualty, it seems, to have a career in the UK. But this over the last few years, he's done a lot of movies. Like he did Legend with the one about the craze with Tom Hardy. He's in the Legend of Tarzan with Margot Robbie, and Tarzan with Margot Robbie, and the big
Skarsgård.
Alexander Skarsgård. River City, Chernobyl, The Batman. The Andor, that Star Wars series that apparently is absolutely brilliant, depending on who you speak to. And he's got something coming up called Waiting for the Out, which has got Lenny James in it. It looks like, is that Lenny James I see there? So he said that he's had like a really. He's just he's admittedly he's not necessarily played a lead character in everything that he's done since. But he's had good characters. I mean, his character in Chernobyl, it was only one episode. He was in the episode when they were hunting the dogs, right? That they were worried would be. I bet you didn't like that episode.
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't like it either. And then in the Batman, he's the pre-Commissioner Gordon commissioner.
Yeah,
he's put on a bit of timber since Man Dancin, in fairness, but yeah, I mean, it's good to see that he's that he's sort of transcended British television and he's kind of finding his niche.
Yeah, I mean in that Night Sleeper or Night Train, I can never remember what it's called. He does Night Sleeper. He plays it's like a fat pissed up guy. Doesn't want to do whatever they're wanting to do. He doesn't want to do. He just wants to drink whiskey at the bar and stuff. Right. So yeah, but he's a good actor and he's good in this. Like, there's a few times, he is chewing the scenery, and there's a couple of choices that I'm like, okay, but he's good. But he will always be, when he pops up in anything, he's not it's that guy, it's that guy. It's Trevor from EastEnders. And it's always, he's lucky there's not many people that have that, despite all the people that have been in EastEnders. You only get like Barry from EastEnders. Yeah. Or you would never say, it's Ian from EastEnders. You'd say, it's Ian Beale. Yeah. The from EastEnders. It's definitely Trevor from EastEnders. When Little Mo hit him with the iron. It's, he's got that. I guess, Barry, he died in Scotland as well. There's another link. He will always have that.
Why does EastEnders hate Scotland?
They do. They fucking hate Scotland, bastards. Yeah. There's a few choices in this that his acting is a little bit extreme. I mean, I guess the torture scene. Yeah. His face is beetroot red. He's really spitting, but maybe that's what you'd be like. It's realistic of what you'd be like when you're being tortured. I don't know. Never been tortured.
But is he tortured either? They just give him a done smack, don't they? I mean,
well, he's kind of trying to. I guess he's fighting to get free. But there's a few moments that he's guilty of it most of the time, but towards the end, his brother Terry does it. But when he breaks the fourth wall, and I think they're trying to do it. It's not a clever technique. It's unsettling. Like, so the first is when Jimmy punches Des, the pimp, with a wee ornament. He punches the camera. And then later on, we have him, like, when he's brushing his teeth, he's looking in the mirror, but he's looking directly in the camera. And then later on, he delivers a few preachy lines directly into the camera. Yeah. And then the very end is Terry delivering the last lines of the film directly into the camera as well. Like, I guess, continuing to spread his brother's message. But it didn't like make me uncomfortable or think, I need to, this is clever. It just made me feel odd. Like, why are they doing this? This is weird.
Well, I mean, that whole sort of, the whole passion play piece, I feel that I'd like to have seen more of the kind of rehearsals and more of that in general. I mean, it does seem like they're trying to make a kind of Glasgow version of Jesus Christ Superstar at one point. When you know what I mean? It's a bit odd.
Yeah.
But like, I think the film's at its best around those moments, and like when he puts the sting on Villers when Villers comes to arrest him at the church, and he's got the demonstration set up. Yeah. Like the Stop the Rot demonstration and things. And it's like, well, he's sort of becoming a bit of a working class hero here, which is fine. Because, it lets people on podcasts sort of draw comparisons between the story of Jesus Christ and the story of Jimmy Kerrigan. I just about said Trevor again there. Like sort of redemption, and because nothing really changes. Like, nothing that Jimmy does, it brings permanent change. There's the moment when the community starts standing up to Cosmo's debt collectors when they're coming to get protection money and everything. And then...
Is this because of the play? Is this because of the play that they're standing up?
Is it not because he punches out, he gets in the paper for punching out Desi's sidekick in the church, and then he does the Stop the Rot thing. But again, like, he would not have, like, there'd be no need to do any of that if Cosmo had just left him alone, So again, because it's not quite clear why Cosmo's so infatuated with Jimmy, and then... like, why should, and then suddenly he does a scene from the Passion Play when Jesus calls out the moneylenders and all that sort of stuff. And the councillor, and like all these people who live in the scheme are inspired by the telling of a story that they've probably grown up with. But nobody's ever put it that way before, and they stand up to Cosmo's heavies. But then, like, at the end of the film, nothing has changed other than the fact that they're still doing the Passion Play on the street. No one learns any lessons. Maybe Terry's learned a lesson because he's because of, I don't want to step on the end, so I don't think we're ready to talk about it yet. But maybe Terry's learned a lesson. But it's again, like, Terry's arc is kind of strange as well, because for half of the film he's spying on his brother. Yeah. So if he's spying on his brother and he's telling Cosmo, "Oh, we went and rehearsed today. Yeah, we went and rehearsed. We went to see my mum. She isn't well in the hospital. We read her the paper. We rehearsed again." And surely, like, that's going to put Cosmo's mind at ease. Well, actually, he's not. He's evidently just trying to get a play made. He's not trying to set up a rival operation. I can sleep easy at night. You know what I mean?
But then it is going to be like, oh, there's more hookers here today than there were yesterday. It's like, that's what they think. He is trying to become a pimp. And, you know, that's what they try to put on him, effectively. That he's trying to set up his own rival pimp. It's... Yeah, I mean, I had written, like, are they trying to say Jimmy's Jesus here? Like, I know he's portraying Jesus, but he's trying to save his brother and Maria and the other girls. He's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to spread this message. I mean, obviously, the religious connotations all over this film. I mean, the vicar's name is Gabriel. There's a play about the crucifixion. His brother spies on him and betrays him like Judas.
Yeah.
The finale takes place at the foot of the Angel of the North. I mean, short of making Jimmy a carpenter and his mother a virgin, like, it's difficult to see any more they could hammer onto this. But it's just odd, the message that he tries. I agree with you. I'd like to see more of this play, but the rehearsals and the struggle and being able to do that's more entertaining to me than you know, other elements of this film, I think.
So what do you suppose the Sunny Delight and the Cocoa Pops is a metaphor for in the Bible?
Have you ever had Cocoa Pops and Sunny Delight?
I can't imagine a worse combination. And
no,
listen, I'm not averse to a bowl of Cocoa Pops with really cold milk. And to be honest, if they're there, I'm going to eat them, but not with Sunny Delight.
No, I've never. It's been a long time since I've had Cocoa Pops. It's been a long time since I've had Sunny Delight, thankfully. But
I don't know if I've ever tried
Sunny Delight. Yeah,
I remember Sunny Delight was portrayed as a bit of an antisocial drink for it, wasn't it? Like all the I remember when they have the Neds on Chewing the Fat.
Yeah,
they would sometimes be drinking Sunny Delight. Like when they had the guy translating for the Neds on the news. You know what I mean? I remember one sketch about the Sunny Delight and all that, didn't it?
Rab McGlinchey,
yeah.
You're right though, in terms of like Cosmo's so obsessed with Jimmy and thinking he's trying to, you know, set up on his own, that he's trying to set him up and destroy things. But why? Like, even, you know, the play's going well and things are taking off. So they burn the church and pretend it's red flag of Ulster by painting it next to the church. And then in the next bit,
yes,
you see
the
these
red
two
hands
washing their hands. And it's like... we knew it was Cosmo setting this up, but
I'd imagine that Ron Donaghy's character would be more upset by the fact that the red hand looks like it's been slammed in a door a few times. It's like a fucking Teletubbies hand with painted on the wall, and the guys are still washing the paint off their hands hours later.
Yeah,
in Cosmo's house. They're going to Cosmo's house to use his sink.
I just like Ron Donaghy plays a proddy called Billy, turning on
Billy Madison, no less.
Yes. That just tickled me. The guys washing their hands, in terms of like, what is going on here? Like, I know it's obvious that he's done this, but you're really trying to hammer this home to us in terms of the thing. But yeah, why not just leave him? He's obviously not doing anything. I don't understand.
And then Billy tries to make a gesture, but would immediately alienate Jimmy to a large community of Glasgow if he's got to drive around in the red hand van.
He's trying to spread the message of the Lord and his play in the red hand van. Yeah. The father, you know, the vicar comes out and it's like, oh no. And he's like, no, it's a van, get in. But yeah, they drive that red hand van around everywhere. It's a brilliant symbol.
They even use it as a means of escape. We need something that's not going to draw attention until we can get south of Hamilton. We've only got the red hand van. That'll have to do.
Now, we need to talk about Cosmo. I mean, I know we have kind of about his obsession with Trevor, but Cosmo plays this, kind of elder crime lord who oversees things. He just likes working on his classic car, beating up his wife, and generally just being a menace. And it's odd to see Cosmo in this role because you think you know what you're getting. And then sometimes he slips something in and you're like, oh, Cosmo, I don't like you. Like, what are you doing here? It's an odd character for Cosmo to play, but brilliant.
Well, it's not the first sort of unusual Cosmo performance that I've watched in the last week, because last weekend I watched a film from the 1980s called Stormy Monday, which is not a Scottish film. It's got Sean Bean and Sting and Melanie Griffiths. Melanie Griffiths in Newcastle. I mean, 1980s Melanie Griffiths in Newcastle. It's just weird. But it's a pretty good film. And Cosmo has got a smallish part, well, kind of small but pivotal part in it, where he plays a bit of where I guess we're supposed to believe a bit of a psychopathic henchman who's been sent up to make Sting sell his club to Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones is also in Stormy Monday. Forgot about that.
Bizarre.
As a villainous American businessman with the most 1980s haircut you could imagine, out with like a Lost Boys mullet. So yeah, this character is almost an extension of his Stormy Monday character, in that he's obviously a bit unhinged, quite an evil guy, although he's moved out the neighbourhood to somewhere nice, Newton Mearns maybe.
I mean, yeah, he's obviously got a streak. You think you know what you're getting with him, because obviously he fixes his classic car. He spent 2 years doing it, but then he loses it. And when he loses it with Jimmy and he smashes the windscreen, you're like, holy fuck. You realise what a big unit that Cosmo is. He
looks big in this. I don't know if all the other actors, I don't think Alex Fearns is a particularly tall guy.
No.
But he makes Alex Fearns look fucking tiny.
Yeah, he really does. The scenes like when they're standing talking, Cosmo looks absolutely huge. And you just kind of, there's certain parts with Cosmo's character, you're like, oh, one of my favourite scenes is when he's sitting talking to Jimmy. And they're talking about Maria, the prostitute. And when he says, like, she's a good wee worker, I've used her a couple of times. And there's this wee glint in his eye and a smile and a smirk. You're like, that little moment is just golden. And I love that part, just seeing Cosmo this kind of way, like cheeky, talking about that.
Yeah.
He has a brilliant line, which I don't actually catch exactly what he says. I think I know, but I didn't have the subtitles on. Well, there was no subtitles on STV or on the YouTube. It's when he's raging at Pancho, and when he says, he's Batman and you're Boy Wonder, and he lays out what's going to happen, and he says, if we do end up in jail, I'm going to make sure someone uses your arse for garden practice.
Let me mark your card, pal. 1, I've got details of every transaction ever taken place. 2, if I go to jail, you're going with me. And number 3, if we do end up in jail, I'm going to make sure somebody uses your arse for garden practice. Do we understand each other?
What does that mean? Like, I know obviously what it implies, but for garden practice?
Yeah.
No, and then obviously the very dark side that you find out that Cosmo is a bit handy with I'm not going to say Mrs. Cosmo, his wife in this. That really left a sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah, poor Mrs. McGlone.
Yeah.
Not Mrs. Cosmo.
Yeah, there is I did watch, I've watched a few deleted scenes on YouTube from this, and there is a deleted scene where she overhears them talking about dropping Jimmy off at the science centre.
Right.
So that would explain, she's tipped off and that's why he's battered her. But they left that out.
No, but also I thought Terry was the one that stuck her in, because Lenny says, I think Maria says, how do you know that? And he said, oh, I got friends that you don't or something. Laura McGlone, she's obviously Cosmo's wife.
Yeah.
Donnie McGlone's wife, played by Cosmo. So I thought it was Terry that stuck her in, which, okay. So again, it's like, Terry, I mean, I guess he is punished because he loses his brother.
Yeah.
But, there's no repercussions. Not only has he led these guys straight to his brother, he's also sort of inadvertently got Mrs. McGlowan a shoeing from Big Cosmo. Which I wouldn't like to get a slap off Cosmo in 2003. Fucking bear of a man. And yet there's no consequence really.
No, what happens to him? He ends up getting the lead part in the play and probably shagging Maria.
He's the new McJesus.
Yeah. So that character doesn't really get any kind of, comeuppance or anything. He kind of is rewarded for his actions, if anything. Yeah, very strange. But
it's just when I think the script kind of goes the wrong way, really, because, I'm not like beyond a surprising and tragic end to a film. But I think if you're when people watch a movie, they generally either consciously or subconsciously want everything all kind of tied up nicely at the end, right? Whatever the film is. If you're not prepared to do that as the filmmaker, then the ending has to be fucking really good and really powerful.
Yeah.
And, as dramatic as the ending to this is, I don't think it's a powerful ending. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about the ending then. So effectively the whole film is just involved them trying to get Jimmy back into the ways. He wants to do this play and just refusing to it. And then it all kind of culminates at the Angel of the North.
Which is weird when the whole film's been in Scotland.
Yeah, a completely bizarre decision to have it there. I can only presume it was for some sort of symbolic reasons. And effectively, they want to take Jimmy back to take to Cosmo, but they need to do something. They're not allowed to harm him, but they need to do something that's going to really hurt. So they're going to shoot his brother Terry.
Yeah.
But Jimmy jumps in the way to save his brother and dies. And you're kind of left like, right, okay.
Yeah.
What was this? And they'd left, it's almost like there's the whole point of like, that it's Flex that shoots him because Jimmy was this retribution for him calling him Eric earlier in the film?
He's the new Jimmy. I think, I think I've worked it out. So Jimmy dies for the sins of his brother, really.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
So there's the whole Jesus died for our sins, Jimmy dies for the sins of his brother kind of, so Cosmo represents the Romans, Flex represents I don't know, a Roman soldier called Eric. Sounds like Monty Python. I think I could be wrong, but maybe that's what we're supposed to kind of take out of it.
Yeah, no, that does make a lot of sense. Actually, you've hit upon that. I think that could be exactly it. Perfect. Yeah, just seems a bit of a strange ending. Did you care when Jimmy got shot? Was it like, oh no, or just that happened?
I mean, I found, no disrespect to Cass Harkins, but I found his performance to really get right under my fingernails, to be honest.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing that I was sort of they could have shot him instead. But I think for the ending to have been more effective, you had to show how it was worth it, for Jimmy. It was worth it. And, Terry taking the lead in the passion play, I don't think that's necessarily enough. If it was Terry giving evidence that gets Cosmo and Co all sent to jail and then taking the lead role in the passion play, then that's sort of worth it then, right? So like Jimmy hasn't died for anything, like, Terry's cleaned up, he's sober, he's not using heroin anymore, he's done the right thing, he's had all these guys, he's, maybe he's gone to jail himself but because he's cooperated, it's a more lenient sentence, and he comes out of jail and it's like however many years later and he's doing the passion play with Frank Gallagher and all the rest of the company. Then it would have been kind of worth it then. You'd be like, right, okay, I can kind of... But just to the way that it ended, I was kind of... Oh, it's a shame because... And again, just the whole tone of it's such like a kind of pendulous fucking swing from the tone of the second act where it's, they're having gazpacho soup and they're having fun, rehearsing, and the kind of posh woman, Elizabeth, and the other guy who'd written the play that, you know, it wasn't good enough, and you know, all that tone. It's like, oh, and then it's just like I said at the beginning, it's just out and out sort of Scottish gangster drama for the last sort of 20-30 minutes. And it's, you know, you got a brutal murder, you got somebody being injected with heroin against their will, and then another brutal murder following a tense car chase.
Yeah,
red hand van in a Mercedes.
Yeah, and lots of gunshots and chasing and there's a lot going on. Yeah, you've struck in there in terms of like the gazpacho soup scene. It just felt like was this the pretty woman scene that they wanted to kind of insert? Look at the prostitute, she doesn't know this, you know, oh, they're going to get fish and chips, it's all fine. Just to hike up their romance a little bit, I don't know. And I guess, I mean, one of the first times that we meet the character of Maria is, of course, in the garage, which is owned by Cosmo.
Yeah. I mean, it's only the garage from the outside. I've spent enough time in there to know that was not the garage, especially not those toilets, because the toilets that he catches Terry and the other guy taking drugs, they were far, far too nice to have been the Glasgow toilets in 2003.
Well, they said, I watched the making of documentary, and it was apparently filmed in the garage.
Was it?
Because they were disappointed because the garage had said they could provide people for being in the background, and they hadn't. So they had to go to like the local student halls, and they got a load of students. So when you see that scene, it is a load of students that were just living nearby that are in the background, apart from all the old businessmen that are there for their prostitutes.
I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, I would only ever really go to the garage either on a Monday or a Thursday night, because I always worked the weekends. Yeah. And there was a kind of room upstairs that had like booths and things. In fact, there was another little bar that I think that had seats. I can't really remember, because usually by the time I was in the garage, I was quite a lot to drink. You know what I mean? I just wanted to dance to the choral and try and get a lumber.
I just found it a bit like, oh, okay, it's the garage. That's fine. You've included that for a reason, a statement. And then I thought, would the garage be happy that like their place, their venue is being portrayed as like a place where Bobby the barman pimps out girls to older businessmen? Like, it's not our usual crowd of Ian Robertson and Kevin Guthrie getting into trouble, is it? Like,
certainly not. It's a whole different class of trouble.
So I guess Gavin Mitchell is probably the least convincing hard man pimp I've seen since.
But do you know why that is?
It's because we know him as Bobby the barman.
And specifically because of the episode when he's trying to get in Britain's hardest pubs.
Yes.
That's all I could think. And it's a shame, because we've established that Gavin Mitchell is a good actor. Like, he was very good in Crime. As as the best friend from childhood. But and obviously this was before Still Game, and before and maybe remember at the same time actually. I don't know if it was around about the same time as the Britain's Hardest Pub episode. I'd have to dig into that, but yeah, just like some of his like outbursts in that episode when he's like, right, that's it. I kept thinking of that when he's like threatening, especially when he's threatening Tam White. Yeah. You know, gets a nut stuck on him.
Evening, fella. Just thought the ladies might want a wee lift up the tune. Know what I mean, Jimmy, huh?
Girls are in the play nowadays.
Play? Alright. Ladies.
But I had to think, it was just like watching an episode of Still Game when Tam White does stick the head on him. It's like watching Eric headbutt Bobby the barman or something. It's like, and I had written that down, exactly that. I'm like, I wish you could I don't wish I could go to a time where I hadn't seen Still Game or Bobby the barman, but I'd love to be able to take that performance as just a one-off and see if I was believing it. But all I see when I see him, all I think is exactly what you've said. That episode, it's Bobby the barman. You know, it's you can't get away with it. Much as we were saying earlier about Trevor, Gavin Mitchell won't escape Bobby the barman, but you're right. He's a great actor. In Crime, he's fantastic. He was great in he was in Field of Blood as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He was really good in that. So he certainly does have the chops, but it's just a case of this role was just a bit too close to comfort in terms of Bobby.
Yeah, just a wee bit. I think I always root for people like Gavin Mitchell, and I'm glad that it's a good one from it being. And I was really pleased when I saw him turn up in Crime. You know what I mean? Because a bit like the character of Trevor, which I'm sure Alex Fearns probably considers a bit of a millstone on occasion when, he listens to a podcast about a movie that he did 23 years ago and the two posts keep referring to him as Trevor.
Sorry, Alex, if you do listen to this. I'm really sorry.
Alex Fearns was actually born in Lennoxtown, if he was born in Lennoxtown, he'd been born in Lennox Castle Hospital, and where my mum and dad both worked, because we lived in Lennoxtown when I was first born. I was born in Stobhill Hill in Glasgow, but in the hospital there. But my first home was in Lennoxtown when I did put me home in the hospital.
Lovely.
But yeah, I was going to say, I was about to say something else, and I went down a Lennoxtown lane. I fucking forgot what I was going to say. I'll come back to it.
If you remember, the other character I wanted to just quickly mention is Lenny, played by Gerald Lipkowski, who we've not seen since playing Roberto in American Cousins.
And unrecognisable without his long hair and the chib mark on his coupon.
I didn't recognise him initially. I just didn't know. I really had to double check. I mean, a strange character just gets brainwashed by the religion. I mean, is that what we're happening? Like, he gets swept up in Jimmy's Glaswegian Christ and he's off betraying Cosmo?
He's lost his daughter or his sister, Charlie, it's mentioned, right? And
Jimmy
shows more sympathy.
Yeah. Jimmy sent a card, but we're never quite sure. But yeah, so I presumed that it's because Jimmy showed him kindness in the past, and Jimmy was the only one that was there for him. So I guess that's also,
when you compare the rest of the company there, with Cosmo's guys, he's I don't know if he's maybe a wee bit miscast because he doesn't talk like the rest of them. He doesn't even talk like Jimmy. He's quite a sort of Bears Den accent, whereas the rest of them are all sort of north of Glasgow, East End, or whatever. And but obviously he's kind of burned in my mind with these long flowing Mediterranean locks, and he's got a bit of a Paul Daniels haircut in this. Just not Paul Daniels, Paul Robinson haircut in this. Helen Daniels was his granny. That's what I was getting mixed up. But of course then he's the one who delivers Alex, albeit temporarily, to safety after and warns him about the sting, which then Trevor turns around on the police.
You just mentioned Alex and Trevor, mentioned the character named Jimmy. So just in case any listeners are confused. Jimmy, Alex, Trevor, all the same person.
It's ridiculous because I've got the IMDb page open right in front of me, and I'm looking into the eyes of Alex Fearns, and it says Jimmy Kerrigan, and nowhere does it say Trevor on the page I'm looking at.
You'd mentioned a couple of times Frank Gallagher popping up, and it's great to have him in the film. He's just perfect for that kind of role, and again, synonymous for me with River City. I'll
always think of Frank Gallagher as his character in Orphans. Which was before this, because when I see him in this, I'm like, oh, look how young Frank Gallagher looks. But I'm like, well, hang on though, because Orphans was 4 years before this came out, and but I suppose in Orphans he's playing a bit, a sort of dishevelled type guy, delivery driver, and that. I've always really rated Frank Gallagher as an actor. I think he's really good, and he's been in River City, I think, for quite a long time, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has been. I'm the same. I think he's a great actor. He's really good when he pops up. He's kind of a safe, reliable actor. If you have a show, you have a little bit of a bit part for a man that age, of that kind of stature, then Frank Gallagher is a perfect choice. No, he's really good. And it was really nice to see him in this. It really was.
He's been going for a long time. Still in River City, in fact. I guess he's in it.
This has been a River City heavy episode. So
it's all the cast are in River City.
This was filmed over 22 days in Glasgow in November 2002. So did you get to recognise a fair bit of the city?
I tell you, the pub, the old toll bar where Jimmy Bus Stop goes for his last drink. A little hashtag Greg fact for you. The old toll bar is on Paisley Road and used to be owned by former Rangers and Scotland midfielder Jim Baxter.
Oh, wow.
And then his son, Stephen Baxter, who I didn't know him, but I knew him to see him because he used to come into Frankie and Benny's quite a lot. He bought the pub, or he took over the lease or something like that, long after his dad had given it up. I think he's obviously Jim Baxter, well known for liking the sort of Scottish George Best almost, liked a bevy. I remember it was in this paper because he was in there at Frankie and Benny's quite a lot for a while, and then it kind of made sense when I saw in the paper that there was obviously a big story that he bought his dad's old pub, or he'd taken over his dad's old pub. But it's a lovely old. You see a wee bit of it in the film. It's a lovely old Victorian bar, and they've really retained. Well, I've not been in it for 20 years, but certainly the last time I was in it, they'd really retained the kind of Victorian look and feel and architecture of the pub. You know what I mean?
Nice.
It is obviously quite synonymous with people who go to Ibrox every fortnight during the season and watch their team. That's the only thing I would say. But yeah, it's a nice old pub nonetheless.
Nice. Oh, nice. Good facts. Very good facts there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was nice to see a little bit of the city in Glasgow in terms of this. And, very good. What happened to Jimmy's curry? He spunks all the travel money in a curry, comes home, then gets an answer phone message, puts on his best suit, and then off he goes to the garage. Did he eat the curry before he went to the garage?
Off to the discotheque. And prawn crackers with a curry. Prawn crackers are served with a Chinese. Unless you got a Chinese chicken curry, which is possible.
Was it a prawn cracker? I wasn't sure if it was a poppadom that he'd kind of...
Oh, maybe it was a
poppadom.
Maybe, yeah.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We didn't know what his order was, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, it's just one of many questions left unanswered. That was it, really.
Do you know, why is it called Man Dancin?
Well, that's the other thing. I've got no idea. Because Kerrigan's passion makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
He doesn't do any dancing at all.
I didn't know if there was some... I couldn't find any reason, but I wasn't sure. But yeah, it's an odd title. Like, it's funny because I did enjoy this film, but there was times where the dialogue does feel like forced and sounds contrived and it doesn't sound natural. There's some bad elements of overacting. There's some bad elements of storyline and not knowing where it's going. But it does feel like it's just going through the motions in places. But it's overall, it's difficult to dislike. And I think it's probably because of the performances of Alex Fearns and of James Cosmo, and of a few of the other characters, Tam White, Ron Donnachie. There's a lot of good performances in this. It's difficult to dislike. But,
I think it's just the last... It's not even like... in a proper sort of gangster film, the last half an hour is fine. It's just so at odds with much of the tone of the rest of the film. That's a problem. You know what I mean? I think that's the only problem with it. But, it's definitely well worth a watch. And, I think people who enjoy listening to this podcast will get a lot out of it. There's a lot to like, I would say.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, give it a view. Man Dancin. It's available on YouTube and STV Player.
It is. And the Ibrox Parish Church, ironically, is the church that that they're doing the Passion Play for. So there you go.
Oh, okay. Oh, well,
I say ironically because it's a Church of Scotland church, the Ibrox Parish Church. It's not a Roman Catholic church, and it's not far from where Rangers used to play.
Fair enough.
Anyway, it sounds as though it's time to put Man Dancin / Kerrigan's Passion through our Swally Awards. So we'll go straight in and we'll start off with the Bobby the Barman Award for the best pub.
Well, I'd written down the Old Toll Bar, but I've changed my mind now because you said it's a Hun bar. I guess it's the boozer. I wasn't sure if it was the same boozer, but it's not, that they go in at the beginning. Johnny Bus Stop's pub.
They go in it twice. There's a scene when where all the all the regulars stand up to the money collectors.
Yes.
Yeah, I had that written down. I mean, I wouldn't, if Stephen Baxter still owns the Old Toll, I wouldn't buy a drink in there because, in my experience, he's a fucking ignorant bastard. Nothing to do with what team he supports. Next award then is the James Cosmo Award for being in everything Scottish. It's got to be Cosmo.
It's got to be.
There's a case for Donnachie. I think that, sort of set himself up as the new Cosmo.
I've literally got written down Cosmo. Shout out to Donnachie though, because he is. Yeah, Donnachie he's in so much. So yeah, I need to go with that.
I mean, ironically, Cosmo and Donnachie both starred in the first couple of series of Game of Thrones. So there you go.
Oh,
and when I say starred, I don't mean a walk-on part for either. I mean like credited roles that had character arcs and all sorts. Next one then, and perhaps one or two options for this, the Jake McQuillan, your T-Zoot Award. There's a couple of decent ones here.
What did you go for?
Well, just because of I was kind of torn between Johnny Bus Stop sticking the nut on Bobby the Gavin Mitchell's character Des, or the sort of 3-jab combo that Jimmy puts Desi's sidekick down with a photo finish.
Yeah,
I couldn't really decide between either because they're both pretty good.
I went with Johnny Bus Stop headbutt and Des because it made me laugh so much, and it's the whole is that your breath I could smell, and then the headbutt. I wasn't expecting it, and I loved it.
Yeah, it's really good. I was wondering, was Tam White actually blind?
No, he's not. So again, I watched the making of, and there's he speaks about how difficult it was. He said, I look at something just over their shoulder and to make it look like, and then it cuts like the director's like, yeah, but he's wearing dark glasses, so it doesn't matter. And then there's one scene he's not wearing his glasses because he forgot to put them on, so they had to like reshoot it. So yeah, no, he's not blind.
Do you know he did the vocals for Robbie Coltrane's brother in flashback scenes of Tutti Frutti?
Really?
He did Big Jazz's vocals for the flashbacks and the records, I guess, because there's a couple of records that they play, aren't they? Of the band.
Amazing.
Yeah. No longer with us, unfortunately. Passed away in 2010. But an interesting guy. Appears in Braveheart as McGregor, but I can't think of which character that was. Next award then is the Francis Begbie Award for gratuitous swearing. I don't think there's anything that could be described as gratuitous in this.
There's not, really.
But Cosmo did make me laugh when he's bollocking Villiers and he calls him an arse and he says something about, be all right when you and Mrs. Arse are off doing something. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it did make me laugh quite a lot.
I just, there's nothing that's gratuitous. I just like the one I laughed at. It's just the way that Alex Fearns delivers the line of Jimmy, and he's like, look, I know you've put a lot of work in, but that doesn't change the fact the play's shite. It's just so matter of fact. It's not like it could be improved here. We could tweak this. It's shite. It's the bottom line.
You know that Tam White, in perhaps a little bit of serendipity for this podcast, given that what we've been talking about. So Tam White appeared for 3 episodes in EastEnders. Played the character of Tony McRae. You want me to very quickly give you the biography of Tony McRae in EastEnders?
Let's hear what Tony McRae did in EastEnders. So it wasn't been anything good.
He's a local who lives near the Scottish hotel where Barry and Janine are married. He acts as one of the witnesses alongside Paul Truman to Barry and Janine's quiet wedding in the hotel. When Janine pushes Barry into a ravine, Tony joins the search party to look for Barry and eventually finds his body in the ravine.
Oh, wow. So he found Barry's body. God, that's a huge role in EastEnders history.
Huge, yeah. And you heard it here first, maybe. Next award would usually be the Ewan McGregor Award for gratuitous nudity. There's no nudity in this, unless you count the odd flash of Jesus on the cross, but he's got a loincloth on, you know what I mean? So,
yeah. So.
Archetypal Scottish moment.
Gangsters trying to skip the queue in the butchers and an old woman telling them off and then ordering half a pun of mince.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a good one. I struggled a bit with it, but then I settled on a Scottish film with James Cosmo in it.
That's absolutely perfect. That's it, yeah. Archetypal Scottish moment. Cosmo in a film, yeah.
It could be my get out of jail card for all future Scottish films that Cosmo's in, to be honest. And then finally, it's the Big Tam Awards. Who wins Man Dancin for you?
Who did you go for this?
I mean, I had to give it... If I look at everybody in here, right, so Cosmo's, by this point, is a well-established actor.
Yeah.
Fearns is riding high following his EastEnders time. He's got a lead in a film. It's a good film. It's not a brilliant film, but he's got a lead in a movie. I mean, don't forget this movie won a prize at the Sacramento Film Festival. So I had to give it to Alex Fearns.
Like, the most enjoyment I probably got out of non-Cosmo would have been Tam White as Johnny Busted Up.
Yeah.
But he's great. But for everything you've just explained, Alex Fearns, he's a lead role. Yeah. Maybe he's the title. Maybe he is the Man Dancin. He's certainly Kerrigan's passion.
Yeah.
It's his film. He's in the majority of it. We follow him or things situated around him. A little bit of overacting at times, but he's starred in a feature film that won awards. So I think it has to be Alex Fearns. You're right.
I mean, they took this film to Cannes. You know what I mean? It was shown at Cannes in the Cannes Film Festival in 2003. Yeah. So, you know. Okay, well, as Nikki has mentioned, if you want to watch Man Dancin, you can find it it's on YouTube if you're not in the UK. If you search for Man Dancin full movie, that won't work because I did have a moment of panic. But if you just search for Man Dancin, you'll get the film.
Yes.
Yep. And get it watched or don't. Up to you. It's worth a watch. It's worth a watch. I've become a little bit obsessed with finding out more about Tam White, to be honest. His Wikipedia page. He's got like a big Wikipedia, like a decent Wikipedia page, and quite an accomplished musician, performer. He did a brief stint in River City, for goodness sake.
For fuck's sake.
2009. Unfortunately, he was a fitness enthusiast, and apparently, very unfortunately, after a workout in the gym in Edinburgh in June 2010, he passed away of a heart attack. But yeah, I mean, I think he's one of these guys that's been in a lot of maybe Blink and You'll Miss It parts, but he's got a good part in this film. So if you're interested in more Tam White, there's certainly a lot more to choose from. Anyway,
Wonderful.
It's your line. I was going to say anyway, Man Dancin was your choice.
That's all right. You can say it, Greg, if you'd like, but yeah, it was my choice, so it's your choice next. What are we going to be watching on the next episode of The Swally?
Well, I've chosen a TV series, but it's a TV series with half-hour episodes.
Okay.
It's a new TV series. It was only released in 2026.
Wow.
And it's the BBC comedy drama Mint, which, from what I can make out, is a bit of a Romeo and Juliet type story set between two. It says Shannon, the naively romantic daughter of a crime family, meets Aaron. That's all it says. A darkly comic story of passion, heartbreak, and love laced with fear. I did watch the beginning of the first episode. Mm-hmm. It's got Laura Fraser in it.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Got Lindsay Duncan's in it, Sam Riley, Lewis Gibbon. Now, Sam Riley is not Scottish, but Joy Division fans may have seen him playing Ian Curtis in the film Control, which I think was like his breakout. So all the episodes are on the BBC iPlayer. I'm sure there are other means if the BBC iPlayer is not at your disposal. Half-hour episodes. Mint.
Wonderful. Mint.
BBC, yeah.
Excellent. I'd not even heard of this, so I will look forward to watching that for the next episode of The Swally. Thank you very much, Greg. Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed listening to us talking about Man Dancin. And getting confused about Trevor, Alex, Jimmy. If you enjoyed the show, then please get in touch with us. You can email us cultureswally@gmail.com with anything you've seen in the news or anything you'd like us to cover. Give us a little rate, review, subscription, follow us on social media. You can find all that on our website, can't you, Greg?
You can find links to all our episodes at cultureswally.com, along with articles about Scottish films and culture. And you can also get all their episodes on YouTube as well. Did you say that there?
No, I didn't. I put us on YouTube this week. Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. I'll maybe start doing some content, Greg. We'll see. I'll probably not.
We've already been pulled up for one episode already.
We have featured Jimmy Nail in it. So ain't no doubt that's been flagged.
The Jimmy Nail lawyers are not to be taken lightly.
No, that is a stark warning. Jimmy Nail protects his copyright, like Delamitri and the Crankies evidently don't. Wonderful.
Yeah, and the people who wrote the jingles to like 100 old Scottish radio and TV adverts.
I was a bit curious about that. I was like, does this include any advertising? And I was like, no, not paid, so it's fine. It's okay for me to have an Old Tenants advert in there, I'm sure. Anyway, okay, well, wonderful. Well, are you up to anything exciting today?
I've got a game of tennis in an hour and a half's time. And then I'm on holiday this week. I took my daughter. My daughter is doing her driving lessons. She started last week.
Oh.
She's finished university for the year now. So she asked me if I'd take her to look at some cars today.
Nice.
So we did that today. We went to Nissan and we went to Kia. Tomorrow we may go to Toyota and maybe Mazda and maybe Mitsubishi, because I think having a Japanese-made car is probably the most cost-effective solution for my 18-year-old daughter to be driving around Dubai in. So that's my plans. What about yourself? Anything nice this evening?
No, nothing exciting. I think I'm probably going to start editing this because we'll get it done. And I might watch in a couple of episodes of Mint, I think. That would be a good plan. So that's about it. Wonderful.
Cool.
Right. Well, till next time.
Till next time.
Look, I didn't want to be in this play. Father Flynn here persuaded me. I know you've put a lot of hard work in, but that doesn't change the fact that the play's shite. And as long as I'm here, I'm going to speak my mind.
Well, in that case, the question really is how long you will be here.